Hola, y'all already know what it is. Your boy Yaakov, what it do? The outlet to reality, the holdest podcast in Vegas and Chicago. What up? This is the place where you want to hide from the drama, or maybe hide from your baby mama. Aha! Just kidding. But anyways, fans, thank you for staying tuned. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Ching! And today we have a very special guest. I had to bring her back. Give it up for Ruby. What's up, girl?
Hey.
Oh man, sorry, girl. I haven't got a chance, to tell you, get back with you. I just got out of jail, so it's been kind of a struggle. You know what I'm saying?
It's okay. I'm patient.
I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
I'm understanding and I'm patient, so we good.
Thank you, girl. Thank you, girl. Those letters you sent, they came through, so I got them. You know what I'm saying?
That's awesome.
Oh man. But look, I gotta share a story. This Halloween's around the corner, is coming up, and I gotta share this. So when I was 13, I lived with one of my cousins, and she was like about 6 or 7 years older than me, and she invited me to Six Flags, to the haunted houses. So excited! I get there. I'm the youngest, right? I'm with this big crew, like 10 of us, and we get in. Now there's like a maze, there's an indoor. We did all of them. And at the very end, probably the most scariest haunted house I've ever been to. We're going in. I'm like, all I hear is oh, ooh, ah. And I'm like, I'm getting scared because they in my face. And so while we're walking this whole trail, there's a moment where like we see mirrors and we see them pop out nowhere. But almost at the halfway of the haunted house, I see the biggest, fattest rat I ever seen in the ground.
Like a real one?
So it was a robotic one, but I thought it was real. Your boy jumped, and I jumped in front of the group, and everybody fell down on top of each other. You know what I'm saying? It was so bad. Everybody was like, oh, my head, I hit the wall. Like everybody was like hurt. And I was like, man, who brought the cheese? I was so scared, you know what I'm saying? And we realized the rat was just his big old head just kept trying to pop in, but it was fake. And I was like, we made it. So we keep going. And everybody knows rats are my biggest fears. Like if my girl was around, or I had my mama around, or somebody, I cannot defend them. I would just be like, hey, I gotta go. You know what I'm saying? It's so sad. But like we get there, and at this time, our friend Jason just came out that movie. So we see Freddy with his claws and shadows, and he says to my cousin, who's the leader, he goes, are you with me or are you with Jason? And my cousin says, I'm with Jason. I like his mask. I said, cuz you said the wrong answer. So he takes us to a different route. We ended up being in the mental hospital at this moment. I see doctors bleeding. I see patients getting nightmares. I'm like scared. And then I'm like, yo, cuz you stupid. I'm so mad at you because now it's longer. So we did all this route. We ended up going outside. We get there and I see Jason, the Chainsaw Massacre, chasing us the entire way outside.
So you got the deluxe package. Like
I think so, girl. I got the VIP treatment. It was so bad, and you hear the
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I was scared. I was screaming. I said, I'm never coming back. I went back next year. You know what I'm
saying? And you said this was Six Flags. I mean, that sounds pretty amazing for Six Flags.
Oh man, I still have nightmares. It definitely was one of the best haunted houses, hands down. I gotta give him props.
Yeah,
I'm glad I'm survived. I'm right here.
You're a survivor. A sticker.
Yeah. Right here.
I survived the haunted house in Six Flags.
Oh man, now I can say it was all a dream. I used to read What Up magazine. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, but what about you, girl? You was there any time or like memory you had growing up for either Halloween or Dios de los Muertos, Day of the Dead, that you could remember?
I have a couple, and my dad growing up, my dad was a single dad, so raising me, he was I guess he wanted to share the things that he really enjoyed, and one of the things was haunted houses. And my thing was not really, I learned very young that I was like, I don't like haunted houses at all. I even don't even like super crazy roller coasters and like the Goliath and all of that. Like I don't. I'll do maybe like the Superman, and that's probably as far as I'll go. But my dad was like, let's try out these haunted houses at this little mini golf place, like, you know, nearby. And it's not scary because it's not a mini golf. You think the word mini is going to like, it's childish. So it's mini golf, mini haunted house. It was not a mini haunted house at all. Like it was terrible. It was 2 floors. Let me tell you, it was a 2-floor haunted house. You had to get the only way out was that you needed to go up the second level to come back to the other side to get down the other side of the house. It was the most terrifying thing I've ever gone through. And I'm never gonna forget. I was like 10 years old.
Wow.
So for me, like that's what I remember when it comes to haunted houses. And now that I'm here with my family here in Texas, they want to go like to this haunted house that obviously I've never heard of over here, and I'm just like, that sounds like a you thing, not so much a me thing. Because I haven't really talked about it, but like that memory of like me and my dad going through that haunted house really stuck with me. And now I'm just kind of like, yeah, I don't know. I haven't tried out the haunted houses in Six Flags. I was in Six Flags the other day, but we were there like last minute, and for some reason we got a season pass, so I'm gonna have to go back.
Oh man.
And then we're gonna figure it out. I'll see if I have I work myself up to be like, yeah, you got this, and then I'm like, I don't got this.
Oh man.
So we'll see.
Wow. You might have to take a couple shots, girl, because that's a little scary.
I
When you
heard
go
that
to a haunted
helps.
house.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
it was so funny. Touching his face. All
Oh,
bleeding.
right.
I'm like, oh, okay, do you guys have a sink? Come and wash my hands. I think that's probably would be me, like drunk in a haunted house.
Oh man, that's too funny. You probably laugh with them, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, honestly, yeah, I really think because I'm pretty giddy like when I start drinking. So I think I'm a happy, yeah, I am a happy drinker. I almost fell off the second floor of this one because I was having such a good time that I was leaning back. My best friend called me. She's like, Ruby, you almost fell out the window. I was like, oh. So, but yeah, I think I'd probably laugh through the whole thing and I'd be like, this is funny.
Right.
Was that Jackie?
Oh man, want to play? And what about like? So I know if you can explain, you probably explain a little better than me. About Dios de los Muertos, Day of the Dead.
Yeah, I think that in my family we never really talked about it, but I do remember my grandmother like building an altar and honoring the dead. Very close to I like to, because everyone can relate to watching the movie Coco. So when I saw that movie, I saw it in English and Spanish, like on repeat, and I cried in both.
Oh,
And it's a very close representation of what the holiday represents. And I say holiday because people are like, oh, how could you celebrate the dead? Some other cultures might not understand, that we celebrate our family members passing into the afterlife because it's a celebration of their next life. So I started to do more research because, again, like my family and being from especially like a Mexican family, we don't tend to talk about certain things or certain feelings and stuff like that. So I'm like, I'm just going to do my own research and I'm going to figure it out. So I after doing my research, I found out that November 1st, they honor the children, so children's passing, and you put all the pictures of the children who have passed, unfortunately, in people's families, and then on November 2nd they honor the adults. So then they put the rest of the pictures and they put it all together, and all the candies and the flowers, and each thing has its own representation. And in Mexico, I was actually in Mexico 2 times in a row for the Dia de Muertos. Back in 2019 in the middle of COVID. Don't hate me. But they canceled everything because of COVID, unfortunately. So there wasn't really much of a beautiful celebration, but I was there for the parade last year in October, and it was absolutely beautiful. It was the most memorable thing. I think that everyone of all backgrounds, all cultures should visit Mexico for the Dia de Muertos, because it's one of the most memorable things. You feel like it's a huge celebration with everyone, and they literally are honoring. There was a section where they were honoring even like other cultures within Mexico. So it was just the most beautiful, diverse melting pot thing that I've ever seen. And they also give them the day off. It's a national holiday. It's a holiday within Mexico where they officially give people the day off so that they can visit their loved ones at the cemetery. And bring them flowers. It's absolutely gorgeous. I think that it's a beautiful way to honor the dead. It's a beautiful way to remember our ancestors and to honor, to honor even past generations, even our children and children's children who's never met them and still think like, oh yeah, this is my abuela, this is my abuela. Even though I never met her, I honor her, and I think that's beautiful to have in a family.
No, see,
yeah.
You explain way better than me, girl.
Yeah.
You brought it down with bam, bam, bam. And me, I would have been like,
I get so excited. I even had like a Dia de Muertos photo shoot in 2019 because they didn't really have many whatever. So I painted myself like a sugar skull, and then I bought like this fancy dress, and I got all excited, and I took photos in the backyard in Mexico, one of my family members' house, full of flowers. Yeah, I love our culture so much. I really do. I think being Mexican is it's just so beautiful. I mean, we bring so much, and I mean, who doesn't like tacos? I mean,
oh man, don't get me started, girl. I'm getting hungry. I haven't even ate yet. I just got a prison.
Oh, man. I had In-N-Out for the first time.
Whoa.
And it was mind blowing. Like, you need to have In-N-Out. Have you had In-N-Out? I've never had In-N-Out.
All right, so check this out. Your boy right here. So I went to Cali for the first time when I was 23 years old. I was 21. And we took a whole week, me and my best friend, my cousin, whole week in LA. I was excited. And we went to LA, but before we went to LA, while we were in LA, we met this waiter, and the waiter says, okay, I'm going to teach you how to order In-N-Out. I said, okay, tell us, there's a specific way. I didn't know. He's like, yeah. He said, if you order like a number 2 or 3, you're not really, they can tell you're a tourist. I'm like, whoa, for real? He's like, yeah, you ordering wrong. I was like, okay. So what I got to say, he said, when you go there, you're going to say, let me get a 4x4 animal style fries. They know what you want.
Get out. This is a 4 by what?
Yeah, 4x4. So that means 4 patties. You know what I'm saying? With grilled onions.
It wasn't that because he was like, I'm still hungry. And I was like, I'm good. But I mean, next time he's like, he was going to order 2 of those cheeseburgers separately instead of the double. Double. Right. Yeah, I guess there's one called double. And he was like, this didn't fill me up. Like, I need more. And he's like, next time I'm getting another fry. But now I'm going to tell them what you told me and see if they know what the hell I'm talking about.
Right. So when you do that, I'm telling you, you will be so full, like you won't eat nothing for the whole day.
The whole day.
You'll be so full.
The next day would be like, no, it was I've never been to Cali, so which is crazy. I travel a lot, so I've never been to Cali, so I didn't know what I knew of In-N-Out. I just never. I mean, even moving here, I don't know. I guess I never really thought I'm going to go there. Everyone hypes up Whataburger. That's the hype here in Texas.
Oh, I love Whataburger.
You land from your flight. Tradition is go to Whataburger before you come home.
So true.
At least in my family, it's it's like a unspoken tradition where my family, like as soon as they land, Whataburger. Family members that fly in from Chicago, where's the Whataburger? Like wow. I mean, can you ask how I'm doing? I mean, no, yeah.
Wow, they're like, mija, no preocupes. We're gonna ask you later after you eat that
Right.
burger. We got you.
After I've been fed, I'm kind of hangry and give me this water burger real
Oh,
quick.
you're so funny. So look at this. When you get the fries, right, with the animal style fries, the
Hmm.
fries, they have like this special, you have the secret sauce with some meat, and it's so packed, and it's so like it's cute, like the decoration. But
Yeah.
girl, you're gonna be so full. I'm telling you. And my family, they're like, dang, and they never order, 4 patties. And
Yeah.
understand, like each patty, you don't have to get, but you can get, it already comes with cheese and grilled onions.
Wow. They didn't even
So,
grow my onions for mine.
oh, it's so good,
You're
girl.
missing out. But now I know. The good thing is that there's a bunch of water burgers. There's a bunch of in and outs here. Like there really is. And I'm assuming because we're so close to California, it makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Oh man, that's amazing,
I
girl.
even asked my cousin, I was like, they don't have In and Out in Chicago? I mean, because obviously, I'm born and raised, but I don't think I've ever seen an In and Out in Chicago. Now that I'm thinking about it, I guess I never really thought about it because it was never talked about. So that's why I'm like, why would I look for something that I don't really know about? So when I came over here, I mean, I wouldn't even know what Whataburger is unless I had visited my family here, back in the day. So
Wow.
like
Yeah,
over
like,
there, we got Portillo's. You
oh,
know, we
oh,
hit
don't
you
get me started.
also like, yeah, they hit you with the Portillos, and everyone over here is like, huh? And I'm like, Giordano's, and they're like,
Man, now the water burger, I gotta say, it feels like a grilled cheese sandwich, but a burger.
I could see that. I could see that, yo. I could
You,
see that. And
you
they do
know,
have a grilled cheese as well.
oh snap, oh snap.
Yeah, they have a grilled cheese. And then the breakfast menu, it starts at 11 o'clock at night.
Dang.
And it goes all the way, I think it's from 11 to 11 in the morning the next day. So it's from 11 to 11. So my cousins and I, we do this thing where we jam pack the car and we go to Whataburger just for breakfast at 11.
Man.
I know, but it's just little things that, I mean, it makes the soul happy.
Wow, that's so funny. That's so funny. Now I do gotta say this real quick before I forget. So, going back to Halloween real quick. So,
Yeah.
Jewish people, we actually have a holiday that's similar to Halloween. Where we dress up. It's called Purim or Purim, and
Uh-huh.
it's so cool. So basically, for those who maybe never read it, but in the Bible, there's a story about Esther where she basically she wins a beauty pageant. And if you win the whole pageant, right, she has to get dressed up, put makeup. You actually become the queen of the country. And she marries the king. And if it wasn't for her, she basically stopped the king from killing off the Jews. And
Oh,
she saved the Jewish people, basically.
yeah.
And it's so cool because from that story, we took that Purim, where we actually get to dress up in costumes one time in the year, and we drink. We ain't like this is like our party. We throw down. We can get messed up and we can get lit. And it's so cool because every state has like their own way of having their parties, but the
Yeah.
parties are huge. Like you have
Amazing. I had no idea that you guys that was a thing. That's awesome.
we like to, keep it a low profile.
It sounds awesome, but the dressing up portion of it, where does that come from?
So that's a good question. So I know some traditions they don't like to dress up, but
Uh-huh.
like what I was raised, growing up, I remember when it was a Purim festival in Chicago, big event. I remember the rabbi gave each one of us like money. He gave us money to spend either for charity or for something else that we choose we want to use. And me being a 13-year-old, I felt like the richest man on the block. I got 20
Yeah.
bucks. You know what I'm saying? That was a lot. You know what I'm saying? I could buy my bag of Cheetos. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
one mega cheese. Not the regular Cheetos, the mega Cheetos.
Right, with the flaming hot, the flaming hot fries. You already know.
Yeah.
So it's really nice. It's very different. I think part of it too, because Esther, she got dressed up for that big competition, that beauty pageant. We want to feel
Oh,
like we
I
were
see.
there. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, I see that.
So it's cool. I like dressing. You know me. I'm different. Like this year, I'm gonna dress up as Harry Potter. That's the
Are you gonna
Latino
do the
version.
mark? You're
Yeah,
gonna do the whole mark and everything on your forehead?
yeah. I might put chicken pox, what I'm saying? Put some chicken
Oh,
pox, what I'm saying? The little, little red dots, what I'm
you're gonna
saying?
need like the owl and all that,
Yeah, what I'm saying? A little birdie, what I'm saying? But I like it. I think, and it's crazy because I was gonna tell you this holiday actually starts in the year, so it's next year. It already passed for us. It's like if I'm not mistaken, this is so embarrassing. I think it's on February, if I'm not mistaken, or some
Okay.
around that time.
Yeah.
But it's a really dope party. Next time, if you're here in Vegas, I would
Yeah.
definitely
That
invite
sounds
you.
amazing. February sounds hot in Vegas though. Is it hot over there?
I'm gonna be honest, it's kind of cold. It's kind of cold.
Oh yeah. Well, then again, the season's like shifting, so it makes sense. Okay, January, February, it's gonna be probably some of like the coldest. That would be like normal for Chicago people.
Yeah, Chicago.
Like for me, like I'm totally fine. Oh, not today though. Today we were at 92.
Oof.
I'm looking at my Alexa. I'm like, wait, what was it? And we're at 92 today, and we're gonna go maybe down to like 85.
Wow. Oh man.
And I was like, Texas just doesn't want to let summer go. Like, you know what? She's toxic for you, bro. Just let her go, you know?
Oh man.
You
You too.
know? You need to cool off a little bit, you know?
Right.
I don't know.
Oh man, you too funny. But look, I really want to ask you this because the last time I had you was last year, September. You were in
Isn't that
Boston.
crazy? It
It's,
feels so weird.
it's so long, man. It's sad, but it feels like it was yesterday. Like we caught up again.
Yeah, I don't really feel like it was that long ago, but I mean, that's with everything.
Right?
Listen, wasn't I like two yesterday? I was like, you're like,
Right. Oh man. So yeah, so how did you make that decision to move from Boston to Texas, which is a big change?
Yeah, I mean, initially I had moved to Boston because, my boyfriend owned a restaurant there with his business partners, and I made the leap because, I'm a graphic designer and someone who I'm able to really work wherever I want as long as I'm connected with Wi-Fi. I thought, why not make the move to Boston to see what's out there? Of course, not. I had only visited maybe like twice, and we're talking about like slowly stepping out of the pandemic where things were gradually starting to get normal. But I literally I took a leap of faith and I took a risk, and I'm like, we'll see what happens. And it was initially it was okay. At first I was like, I could do this, I'm motivated, but then I think slowly but surely I started to feel a little empty. I started to feel like I wasn't really belonging. I guess I didn't feel much of belonging. I'm very like we were just talking about the other Muertos, which is obviously a Mexican thing, a Mexican holiday. And I'm very close with my culture. And I started to see that in Boston, they lack a lot of that. They're still not with they still don't really highlight those things. And you would think that Boston being an advanced city, because you got MIT, you got Harvard over there, you got some of the top hospitals over there. Part of the vaccine for COVID was made in Boston. I don't know if many people know that, by a woman. Let me add that, by a woman. I can't remember exactly her name, but a part of the vaccine was made by someone in Boston, which is amazing, but you would think with all these things that it has, it's like, oh, well, they're probably pretty advanced people, but there's certain things, there's certain categories that they haven't touched or magnified yet. Like in Chicago is so populated with Latinos, so many types of Latinos. We celebrate literally everyone. Like we have like the Puerto Rican festival, we have the Mexican festival, Mexican little festivals around it. There's always something. And I felt like I couldn't find myself over there. Although I am gonna say I did find some people that I did genuinely connect with, and who I'm still connected with now. And I do plan to visit, to hey, catch up, let's hang out and stuff like that. But as far as moving there, I just, like I said, I feel like I just couldn't find myself. And I think that was the hardest part of moving somewhere new. You think of our parents, or our grandparents who migrated from a different country, and you think like, they tell you the story like, mijo, I came here with $20. Like I started from nothing and I moved into these crummy apartments, and that's how your tios lived. That's how your tios and tias lived until they did this and this and this. And now we're here. And it's like, it doesn't hit you until you are the one going through it. Now us, right? We know the language, we know English, we know Spanish, we're citizens, we're educated, we're this, we're that. We have connections. We can go on social media. We can go on the internet. We can connect with everyone. And I still felt lost. And I'm just like, how did my grandma do this? How did she push through these barriers? Like, how did she bring her entire family up of 6 kids of her own, and then like 4 or 5 others of our family members who were also young and lost, and she ended up wanting to adopt them too. How did she do this? And you think about, like, you really start to appreciate like the struggle, because it hits you hard. I went over there solo. The only one I knew was my boyfriend. I mean, no one else. So it was like a clean slate, like no tios, no tias, nobody to rely on, no nothing. Something happens to you. I hope that my boyfriend knew I was missing, because he would be the only one to know that I'm even there. It was a culture shock. It was very much a culture shock. So I had spoken these feelings, obviously, with my significant other, and I told them, I really don't, I don't see myself here. And this is not like I tried this for like 2-3 months. I mean, I really went going optimistic. I was like, this might work. Like I can grow anywhere as long as it's me who's gonna grow, not the environment. I can adapt to it. And I went in there so headstrong, but then after really trying, after maybe, what was it, about like a year and 3 months, I think that's when I realized, I was like, okay, I made it here a year. I've done a complete year. I think this is how far I think I want, how far I wanted to go, and I did not get. And I'm realizing that I'm not really growing, and that my best self is not here. Like I'm not becoming my best self here. I don't think this is going to work. So I talked to him about it. He shared his feelings, and he said that he started to feel the same. And I think I'm like, okay, then I feel like we see eye to eye. Now we need to figure out what would be our next move. Do we want to move back home to Chicago, or do we want to move into a completely new state, but not completely starting over, because I do have family here in Texas. So I'm like, we would start with surrounded by family, surrounded by literally what we were looking for in Boston, is some form of a family. And over there, in that case, it would be family, friends, family that would be friends. And I talked to my aunts here in Texas, and she's like, yeah, come, like, let us figure it out. We're all together. And I'm like, I don't see myself growing in Chicago anymore. I think I've done enough growing over there. I love Chicago. I mean, there's nothing, the food does not compare to anywhere I've ever visited in my life. I can tell you that. And I've traveled a lot, and and I've talked to people here in Texas, and they also agree with me that the food does not compare. And I thought, do you want to make this change with me? I very much did put my foot down, because I did think, like, I need to fight for me. I need to fight for my mental health. I need to fight for my growth. And I told them, I was like, it sounds messed up, because in a way it does sound like an ultimatum, and I said, it's either you're going to stay here, or I'm going to leave, or we're going to leave together, because it was my relationship or my future, my life.
Wow.
And then he said, no, I want to leave with you. And that's when we started to brainstorm. Okay, how are we going to do it? We got to plan this. Nothing was really organized. It was very impulsive. It was very, we got a U-Haul. My cousins flew in from Texas. We packed everything in the U-Haul. We overloaded it. Like, we weren't supposed to overload it that way. Like, my tire almost exploded on the road to get here. We got here because of God. Like, we got here. It was bad. And we made the change. And you know what? I have no regrets. Like, I absolutely love it here. So many people in Chicago, my family, my friends, the new friends that I have made here, they literally tell me, they're like, you're glowing. Like, it looks like you're glowing. And I'm like, I'm not pregnant. Like, I'm not. They're like, no, you're glowing. Like you look like you're so happy, and like, you're just like, you found yourself. And I'm like, yeah, like, that's exactly what it's like when you are when you feel your ultimate self. That's how I feel here. So I don't see myself moving.
Wow, that's so
Yeah.
beautiful, because honestly, I could relate. I moved to Vegas, not knowing anybody, no family out here, just starting from scratch. Say something. I spoke to my therapist recently, and
Mhm.
he was saying how, would you ever go back to Chicago? And I said, no, I don't think so. And he
Yeah.
goes, I like your answer. He said, I'm going to share something with you in psychology. He said, it's called the frog syndrome. And the frog syndrome basically means, if you ever see a real frog, they always jump forward. They never jump
Yeah.
backwards.
Yeah.
So if you were to, let's say, go back to Chicago, it almost looks like you never like grew. You kind of like, oh, I couldn't do it, so I'm going to go back to my comfort zone. And
Right.
you don't want that. You want to start a legacy, your own empire, whatever it is. And he said, think of your parents, right? Going back what you were saying with parents, like, my mom left Guatemala to come to United States without knowing the language, and she made a better future, for my life growing up.
Right.
What I'm saying, in Chicago. Now she's doing good. So I see that, and I'm like, man, he's right. My mom is said she'll never go back to Guatemala to live there, right? She's
Right.
like, I like it here. And she brought all her family, and I feel the same way. I think Vegas has become my home, where I can make a change to the world. I feel like with you in Texas, um, the things I've been seeing, you're going to different events. I see you working out, girl. You're like, man, I gotta get lit, before the party
I'm
about to
doing
start.
really well here. Everything from my body to my mind to the way that I see my career to I'm still learning to give myself permission to rest. I'm still learning that, because I was always on the go go go. Chicago is such a go 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 city. My cousin just called me earlier today, and he was like, cuz, like, you beat me to it. Like, I wanted to go to Texas and you got there before I did. Like, what's up? Like, I'm like, nobody's stopping you, come through. Like, and he said something. He's like, I feel like life here is so fast. I can't even think sometimes. I feel like I constantly have to keep going. Something beautiful about, like, where I live in Arlington, and it's in the smack in the middle. Like, if no one knows where Arlington is, it's smack in the middle of Fort Worth and Dallas. I'm literally right in the middle. I'm 25 minutes or so from Dallas, and I'm 25 minutes from Fort Worth. And the awesome thing about living in the middle is that not only is it like a semi-city, but it's also a suburb, and it feels like a suburb. So it's quiet, it's peaceful, people, doing their little joggy jog. But then you're still near the city, and it's a wonderful thing, because you can visit Dallas and you can check out all the cool stuff, or you can visit Fort Worth and you can visit all the stuff over there too. So I think that having, this location where my family established themselves, and luckily because of them, I was able to start to eventually establish myself here. We're still working on it. It's just nice to have a little bit of everything, because you want to get to know a little bit of where you see yourself for a long time. If I see myself here for a while, I want to get to know a little bit of everything. So then I went on this. Obviously, I'm sure you're familiar with the app Bumble, the dating app.
Yes, I am.
This still took like a whole nother turn. You're probably like, why are you putting my business out there? No. No, this is not about the dating portion, because believe it or not, Bumble has other features, and they should promote me for even saying this out there. Yeah, Bumble, promote me. Anyways, sponsor. Anyways, they have additional features on there. It's called Bumble BFF. That's one of the features where you can find like-minded individuals like yourself, and you can put all the characteristics. You can put if you're in a relationship. You can put if you have pets. You can put like a dating profile, but to find friends. I went on there. I signed up for a month subscription and be like, let's see how this goes. And let me tell you, I have found some of like the most wonderful friendships. Like there's this one of my girls, Selena, if you're hearing this, Selena, I love you. And I have met some of the most amazing people out here who are also in very similar situations. You can even put on your profile if you're new to Texas. And she's new to Texas. She's very similar personality, similar. And it was just so amazing how we connected. And I started to make all these friendships through Bumble BFF. Just meeting up these girls. I started to feel like I was dating these girls. I was like, so what's up, girl? What do you like to do? You know, like if I was dating them, but literally I was dating friends. Like I was finding friends, looking for friends. And then they also have another part of the Bumble. It's called Bumble Careers, where you find other people who are in similar career as you, or similar entrepreneurship or small business or whatever you're doing. And you find other like-minded people like you through that app. And I didn't even know I had that. But one of my girls told me about it, and I was like, let me try this Bumble stuff. And I told my boyfriend, he was like, if you're on Bumble, you should just leave. Like, I don't want to. And I'm like, Alan, like, it's a different kind of feature. It's not what you think. And little by little, I started to find myself that way. I go to these networking events by myself. You know how I am a different Ruby than I was in Chicago compared to who I am Ruby here in Texas. And I can tell you that like transparent, like so transparent about that, because I started to really analyze who I was in Chicago. And Ruby in Chicago would never go to a networking event by herself. Never. Because Ruby in Chicago would be so intimidated by everyone else's greatness that she wouldn't even think of approaching someone greater because it would intimidate her. That's Ruby in Chicago. And I never like vocally said that. I have ever said that out loud until now. And then Ruby here, Ruby in Texas knows what she wants. Ruby in Texas is ready to serve and provide design services to anyone that may need it, no matter how big of a challenge it is. That's Ruby in Texas, you know? So, and it's beautiful. And it's beautiful to see that about yourself. I hope that everyone reaches that point in their life where they're like who was me there and who am I now? Ooh. You know, that growth is so powerful, but it's even more powerful when you see it within yourself, you know, when you're like, damn, I did that.
I love that, girl. That's deep. That's deep, girl. Well, look, I gotta wrap it up because Zoom about to kick me out. I see it.
Okay. So Zoom is like, no, not today.
Right. I was like, that is getting deeper. So look, guys, this is the Outlet to Reality, the holdest podcast in Vegas and Chicago every Tuesday. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Ching. Y'all know where to find me. I'm on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, the Outlet to Reality. My Snapchat is Take One Pass It, and my TikTok is at Yaakov28. And Ruby, where can my fans find you?
On Instagram, you can find me at Ruby Herrera Rivera, my full name, or my business page, Ruby Creative _ Co, or rubycreativeco.com.
I like that.